Amazing waitress discovers transformative connection with CEO's deaf mother after years of silence. The small-town diner buzzed with the usual morning crowd, a swirl of laughter punctuated by the hum of coffee machines. Sarah moved swiftly from table to table, the greasy smell of bacon and waffles filling the air. Yet, today was different. As she poured coffee, her thoughts hovered around her mother and younger brother, swamped with unpaid bills and mounting pressure. Her father's sudden passing had thrust responsibilities upon her shoulders, yet her dreams of returning to college felt like fading echoes in the back of her mind. Was she abandoning her family by even thinking about her own future? These treacherous doubts danced like shadows, darkening her spirit. Every clink of a coffee cup reminded her of the weight she carried, a bittersweet discord between familial loyalty and personal ambition. She wiped the table, catching a glimpse of Mrs. Thompson, the elegantly dressed, deaf widow who lit up with an unexpected warmth whenever Sarah served her. Initially, she had thought the affluent woman was merely another isolated patron, cloaked in designer wear. But gradually, the silence began to unravel itself through scribbled messages on napkins. With every rising connection, Sarah's heart flickered. She felt a kindred spirit standing just beyond the barriers of their worlds. Yet, there was a constant tension locked within her, a sharp retort of guilt and longing that pierced deeper with each story Mrs. Thompson shared. The gentle, wise woman had endured her own trials, loving fiercely, yet facing the cold indifference of her own son, a stark portrayal of profit-centric values rather than depth of character. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But as Mrs. Thompson bared her soul, pouring wisdom into Sarah's life, so too did the weight of responsibility grow heavier. How could Sarah even think of acting upon her dreams, with laundry lists of bills due and her brother's future at stake? The shame swept over her like a tidal wave. If she dared to dream, was she betraying her family? It felt wrong, red-hot anguish coursing through her veins. Anxiety twisted in her gut as she returned to her shifts, the flickering neon diner sign almost mocking the anchor on her dreams. Then came news of corporate restructuring, the words job loss hanging thickly in the air, and Sarah's heart sank into the pit of her stomach. Would they sacrifice the diner, everything it represented, the familiar haunt of laughter and solace in a tumultuous world, all to prioritize profit? The threat collided with her growing awareness of her own ambitions, pushing her closer to the edge. Mrs. Thompson's tales echoed in her mind, igniting a fire she wasn't sure she could handle. Together, they faced a larger battle, one where societal divides manifested starkly in lives entwined by circumstance. The simmering turmoil bubbled inside her, distorting clarity. She found herself on the precipice, teetering between loyalty and a yearning for her future. As Sarah weighed it all, the diner, her family, her dreams, each breath felt heavier. The world beyond those neon lights seemed both impossibly distant and tantalizingly within reach. A flash of determination flickered in her mind. But could she really step forward, pursue her own path, while holding the hands of the ones she loved? Feeling Mrs. Thompson's gaze upon her, fierce and unwavering, Sarah realized she was at the crossroads of one heart-wrenching decision. Would she chase her dreams, or would she lose herself in the weight of duty? Each shift at the diner felt heavier than the last, as if the very air she breathed was tinged with the weight of impending decisions. Sarah moved through her routine mechanically, refilling coffee cups and exchanging small talk, while the voices around her faded into background noise. The morning rush buzzed like a swarm of bees, but all she could focus on was Mrs. Thompson's unwavering support, etched into her mind like a mantra. Sarah, Mrs. Thompson had written on her napkin the previous day, her elegant handwriting punctuated by emotionally charged dots and lines, "Your dreams matter. Pursue them fiercely." Those words danced in Sarah's head like fireflies in darkness, illuminating a path shrouded in doubt. But how could she reconcile those dreams with the reality of her responsibilities? Her mother's tired face haunted her, and the burden of her brother's future loomed heavily. After a long shift, Sarah found a moment alone in the break room, the claustrophobic space contrasting sharply with her chaotic thoughts. She stared blankly at the flickering overhead light, its pulse echoing the rhythm of her anxious heart. For the first time, she allowed herself to consider what pursuing her education might actually look like. It was terrifying yet exhilarating, a step into uncertain waters, away from the safe harbor of routine. Her phone beeped with a text notification. It was a message from her younger brother, Evan, asking if she could come home early. The familiar tug of familial duty shot through her, an automatic response to drop her aspirations at the sheer thought of him waiting. A thread pulled her toward the din of home, where he relied on her, where laughter easily masked their struggles. But the more she contemplated, the more she recognized a shift within herself. This was not merely about her anymore, it affected Evan's future too. If she sacrificed her own dreams, how could she model perseverance for him? Days passed, each filled with shared moments with Mrs. Thompson. With every visit, the elderly woman's stories became a backdrop for Sarah's self-discovery. They discussed aspirations, what it truly meant to live fully, not just to exist in the suffocating comfort of safety. Mrs. Thompson's world, intersecting seamlessly with Sarah's, planted seeds of intrigue and ambition in her heart. As their connection deepened, Sarah began exploring ideas beyond diner walls, possibilities that felt both alluring and intimidating. Yet moments of self-doubt still thrived. One afternoon, while wiping down a table, Sarah overheard a conversation between some regulars. They were discussing the latest developments with Mrs. Thompson's son, the CEO. "I hear he's planning to sell the diner," one patron remarked. The familiar slash of anxiety dug deeper into Sarah. If the diner fell into the hands of corporate interests, not only would she lose a part of her community, but her dreams would once again dissolve into the ether of unfulfilled potential. Fueled by a newfound resolve, Sarah sought Mrs. Thompson after her shift, her heart racing. She needed to know the truth about her son's intentions. She could feel the stakes rising, a surge of determination pooling in her stomach. If there was a battle to be fought, she wanted to be a part of it. Mrs. Thompson's gaze, sharp and knowing, seemed to underscore the urgency of the moment, a guiding light urging Sarah to confront the truth. But as they sat together, feeling the tension of unspoken revelations between them, Sarah grappled not only with potential loss but with newfound courage. Could she advocate for both her dream and the diner? Could she become a voice for her community without losing sight of herself? In the echoing silence that followed her question, the answer lingered on the tip of her tongue, a question that had the power to reshape her reality. The path before her split into dizzying choices, each turn promising challenge, but which way would she dare to step? The next shift arrived, and with it, a heightened awareness pulsed in Sarah's veins. Each clink of silverware and murmur of conversation vibrated with a newfound significance. The diner was no longer just a space of survival, it was the realm where she would either cocoon herself in comfort or begin to unfurl the wings of her aspirations. As the steam billowed from the coffee machine, Sarah found herself drawn to a corner table where Mrs. Thompson sat, knitting needles clicking rhythmically. The elderly woman's serenity offered a stark contrast to Sarah's frayed nerves. She approached, feeling the weight of impending conversation pressing upon her shoulders. Today was different, today she would dig deeper. "Can we talk about your son's plans for the diner?" Sarah asked, the words tumbling out with surprising insistence. Mrs. Thompson paused, her hands stilling. "Ah, my boy and his ambitions," she replied, her voice layered with both pride and concern. "He's a good man, but business can blind us. It's about connection, Sarah. What we stand to lose is often more important than what we stand to gain." As Mrs. Thompson spoke, Sarah's mind raced. Her own connections, her growing sense of purpose, wove through her thoughts like threads in Mrs. Thompson's knitting. This conversation could mark a turning point, a step toward both advocacy for the diner and an assertion of her own dreams. "What if I helped?" The suggestion surprised her as it left her lips. What if I reached out to him? I could gather the community's thoughts, share their stories, showcase what this place really means. Mrs. Thompson's eyes gleamed, a blend of hope and skepticism. It's a good idea, but are you prepared for the challenges that may arise? You're talking about standing up against powerful interests. Questions asked, doubts solidified. What did she really understand about advocacy? Or business? Or public speaking? Each uncertainty clamored for attention, clawing at her confidence. Yet, the flicker of determination within her refused to be snuffed out. I have to try, Sarah asserted, her voice steadier than she felt. There was no turning back now. The fear of failure paled compared to the compelling desire to uplift not only her future but also her brother's and the diner's community. After her shift, Sarah dedicated herself to her newfound resolve. She began crafting a document highlighting the diner's significance. Each family story painted a picture of connection, laughter, and resilience. The task felt cathartic, her thoughts transforming into words of advocacy, her nervousness morphing into a sustained sprint of purpose. But in the depths of the night as she toiled over her notepad, doubt still drifted in like an unwelcome fog. What if her efforts were in vain? What if the CEO brushed her aside, an ambitious waitress trying to protect a fading establishment? Loss lurked at the corners of her determination, an ominous reflection of her mother's wearied face. Imagine what can happen if I don't try, she murmured to herself, crushing a rising tide of hesitation. Each sentence she penned transformed not just her advocacy but her outlook. With each word, she threaded her dreams firmly into the fabric of her reality. By the end of the week, she scheduled a meeting with Mrs. Thompson's son, buoyed by her message and the voices of those she sought to represent. The confrontation felt imminent, the tension palpable. She had gathered stories, hopes, and a tacit community given a voice through her writing. But as she sat poised to enter his office, the questions swirled again. Would she be seen merely as the waitress? Or would she emerge as a powerful advocate? The stakes loomed larger than ever, coiling around her resolve. With a deep breath, Sarah pushed open the door. Just inside, she caught a glimpse of the corner office view stretching like her aspirations and fears alike. The time had come to face not just the CEO, but the very essence of her own ambitions and the reality of what she stood to lose if she failed. As the door closed behind her, she steeled herself for an encounter that would irrevocably shape her journey. Would she break through the corporate veneer or find herself silenced once more in the clamor of aspiration? The office was more imposing than she had envisioned. Marble and glass projected an image of authority that unnerved her. Sarah felt as though the walls were closing in, trapping her amidst her insecurities. The furniture appeared too large, the CEO too distant. As she stood at the threshold, she uncoiled her fingers from the notepad clutched tightly in her hand, honing the courage to speak. "Mr. Thompson, thank you for meeting with me," Sarah managed, her voice barely above a whisper. She stepped forward, balancing on a tightrope of anxiety and determination. "Of course," he replied, his tone cool and uninviting, as if there was a barrier between their worlds that he wasn't eager to breach. "Mrs. Thompson mentioned you had some thoughts about the diner." He gestured toward a chair, and as she sat, an inner voice echoed her doubts. Would her words resonate or fall flat in this grand space? She drew in a breath, pulling the collected stories from her mind like farmers rushing to harvest a fragile crop. "The diner is more than just a business, it's a sanctuary for so many in this community," she began, finding momentary steadiness in the conviction of her purpose. "People come for the comfort of familiar faces and to share experiences. There's a connection here that I think is worth preserving." Mr. Thompson raised an eyebrow, skepticism etched on his features. "Connection is a nice idea, but let us talk numbers. Profit margins, growth potential, those are the realities we must focus on." The chill in his voice pierced through her fervor. Growth. Profit. She felt the weight of those terms tugging at her hopes. But what if the numbers blind us? It was a question she never intended to ask, but the words tumbled out, fueled by the fire of her intentions. What if preserving this sense of home brings its own value that can't be measured? She watched as he leaned back, arms crossed, a shield against her words. She had drawn the line, crossed into territory most of her coworkers would avoid. Her unwillingness to back down ignited a spark within her. She was not just a waitress anymore, bursting free from the role that felt so confining. Mr. Thompson regarded her for a moment, eyes narrowing as if assessing a challenge. What makes you think people care enough about what you have to say? In an instant, she reverted to the stories she had compiled. I care. I've listened to the laughter and seen the tears. I've witnessed families come together here. Each story is like a thread in a tapestry. We can show that to customers and create a campaign that captures that spirit. People don't just want a meal, they want memories. Silence hung thick between them. It was unnerving, yet cathartic. With each pause, she could feel the tension coiling in her stomach, uncertainty battling her resolve. Memories of her mother's sacrifices flickered through her mind, and she grasped onto the threads of her own narrative with fierce tenacity. Don't you want to know what's at stake? If we lose it, we lose more than just a diner, we lose a shared identity, she insisted, her voice gaining strength. I can help ensure those stories are heard. For the first time, Mr. Thompson's demeanor shifted, a crack revealing flickers of interest. But as quickly as that shift occurred, doubt loomed again. And what about you, Sarah? Why do you want this so badly? The vulnerability of his question cut deeper. This wasn't merely about the diner, it mirrored the complexities of her own identity. In seeking to protect a piece of their shared community, she was carving a space for her own aspirations. Because I need to matter. I can't just watch from the sidelines while the lifeblood of this place drains away, she confessed, the heat of her passion igniting a protective instinct. The room felt charged with possibilities, as though her aspirations might just translate into action. But would he see it? Would he recognize her determination as more than a waitress's whimsy? The door loomed behind her, a tangible reminder of both her choices and fears. I want to share these stories, she pressed, as urgency surged in her chest. Please, give me the chance to show you. But as she finished speaking, an ominous doubt settled over the conversation. What if the fight for this diner was only the beginning of a much larger battle? Would she have the strength to face the shadows yet to emerge? The moment hung in the balance, teetering between potential and peril, and Sarah braced herself for the storm ahead. The silence seemed to stretch indefinitely, palpable tension binding Sarah to her chair. Mr. Thompson's gaze scrutinized her, a labyrinth of thoughts flickering across his features. Each moment felt like an eternity, forcing her to confront not only his doubts but also her own apprehensions. Your passion is admirable, he finally said, his tone shifting to one tinged with caution. But it feels naive. What makes you think you can manage a campaign that emphasizes stories in a world driven by data? She felt threadbare under his gaze but clung to the conviction growing within her. Because every number represents a person, a voice lost in the metrics. I believe if we start listening, we can cultivate a narrative that speaks directly to people's hearts, she replied, the firmness in her tone surprising even herself. As she spoke, images of families laughing over milkshakes and friends sharing their dreams in the booths of the diner painted vivid scenes in her mind, amplifying her resolve. This isn't just about the diner's survival, it's about rekindling connections. Our customers deserve that. Mr. Thompson's resolve appeared to soften a mere strand, but a strand nonetheless. Interesting perspective, Sarah. But what's your next step? His question hung heavy, provoking a visceral response within her. At that moment, confidence burst forth, sweeping aside the remnants of self-doubt. I want to gather stories, real stories, testimonials of moments spent at the diner. I can create something tangible, a campaign that breathes life into our brand and resonates with customers. His eyebrow arched, a mere flicker of intrigue betraying his facade of skepticism. And how do you plan to do that? With a surge of adrenaline, she began outlining a plan, a concept that took shape in real time, driven by her own memories and those shared by others. "I'd want to start a social media initiative, encouraging our patrons to share their experiences and memories. It doesn't have to be anything grand, just a picture or a few words about their best moments here." "Interesting approach," he said, nodding now, but that was only part of the battle she faced. Briefly, she pondered her own trepidations while she evaluated his. Did he see the value in what she was proposing? Maybe her vision could intersect with business strategy, but would he allow her the space to realize her own potential, or would the enormity of the corporate world swallow her whole? "Are you prepared for the pushback?" he asked, a shadow creeping back into his tone. "You might face resistance from higher-ups who want to see the benefit of stepping away from the numbers. What if they deem your project a waste of resources?" She sensed a repeated pattern in her life, a stretch of comfort disrupted by the risks associated with growth. "Then I'd fight," she declared, a surprising conviction settling into her voice. "If I need to, I'll gather support from our regular patrons. I'll bring their voices to the table because they matter, even if the numbers don't reflect that yet." Mr. Thompson's expression shifted, the skepticism darkening briefly before another spark of curiosity flickered to life. Was he beginning to weigh the potential value she could bring? In that moment, she could almost taste a glimpse of triumph. "And what if it doesn't work?" he challenged, curiosity entwined with caution. "Then it doesn't work. But I've crafted a plan, and I'm willing to learn from each step taken. If we try, I believe we can create something meaningful not just for the diner but for ourselves." His silence did not deter her, it spurred her forward. What mattered was he was listening, engaging in the narrative she was determined to shape. She felt lighter, yet pressed by the knowledge that this was merely the initial foray into a world that could unravel her source of strength just as easily as build it. "Let me prove it," she pressed, heart racing in tandem with her brain. This was her moment. Failure was a possibility but not a certainty. Mr. Thompson sat back, arms now relaxed at his sides. "I'll think about it," he said. Slowly, the faintest hint of respect billing on his lips, a glimmer beckoning her to continue. As she rose to leave, a fateful decision churned in her mind. Was it boldness or recklessness? The answer remained unclear, but one truth was evident. In her heart, she knew this was an invitation to stimulate trust, not just in herself, but in the untamed stories winking for recognition beneath the surface of their everyday lives. Stepping through the threshold again, she felt the air shift, as though new possibilities were taking root. But the echoes of doubt trailed behind her, whispering warnings of the battles yet to come. Would she ultimately have the courage to take the next step, or would she falter in the face of obstacles waiting just beyond the horizon? Every step Sarah took away from Mr. Thompson's office was heavy with unspoken challenges, her mind racing through the potential hurdles ahead. The notion of gathering stories had ignited a determination within her, one born not just from optimism but from a realized conviction that had been dormant too long. She needed to channel that energy into tangible actions, starting today. The following morning, as sunlight streamed through the diner's front windows, she stood behind the counter, brewing coffee and organizing a hastily crafted plan in her mind. The scent of freshly baked pies filled the air, an aroma that usually provided comfort now transformed into a symbol of the potential she was beginning to manifest. She pulled out her phone, opening a new social media page for the diner. The anticipation of going public with her idea electrified her. Would the customers share their sentiments? She couldn't afford to think negatively. It was vital to keep her narrative intentional and focused. "Morning, Sarah," a voice interrupted her thoughts. It was Lily, a college student who had worked at the diner for the past summer, her vibrant energy contagious. "What has got you so focused this morning?" "I'm starting a new initiative," Sarah replied, a hint of excitement creeping into her voice. "I want to encourage our regulars to share their stories online about their experiences here. I think it could really bring people together." Lily raised an eyebrow, leaning against the counter. "That's a unique idea. But how are you going to get everyone on board?" The questions flooded Sarah's mind, but instead of retreating, she took a deep breath, her resolve growing. "I'll tell them about it personally. I plan to talk to each customer over the next few days, get their stories and introduce them to the social media campaign. That sounds like a lot of work, but I'm in. Lily said, enthusiasm radiating. It'll be more fun if I help. Sarah's heart quickened, she welcomed the support. With someone by her side, her fears dimmed slightly. Together, they could approach this challenge head-on. As they operated together throughout the morning, Sarah approached customers, engaging them in animated conversations about their memories. A couple reminisced about their first date at the diner, while a grandfather spoke of the countless times he brought his grandchildren for milkshakes. Each story added fuel to her vision, and the once muted voices began to come alive. However, as she gathered stories, the refinement of her own narrative became essential. Conversations with each patron led her to deeper connections and realizations. One elderly woman expressed how much the diner meant to her, as it was the last place she visited with her late husband. The personal reflections ignited something within Sarah. These moments felt potent, almost sacred. As the week passed, she faced the first wave of discouragement when Mr. Thompson summoned her for an update. His customary skepticism returned, the flicker of curiosity extinguished by the corporate icon's pragmatic focus. "How many stories have you collected?" he inquired, and she could sense the challenge in his gaze. "Only a handful so far," she admitted, her heart pounding. "But they're powerful stories, Mr. Thompson. They matter. And what's your plan for scaling this? You know you can't expect everyone to engage." His tone dripped with condescension, the weight of reality pressing heavily on her. Sarah's hands trembled slightly, but something clicked within her. She recognized this as a pivotal moment. Could she fight for this idea or let it crumble under scrutiny? "The stories I've gathered represent the emotional core of our diner," she asserted, her voice steadier than she felt. "They show the passion behind our food. If we market that, if we connect with people in a meaningful way, it'll resonate more than just numbers on a spreadsheet." Mr. Thompson's brow furrowed but settled into a look of contemplation. "Prove to me it can work, and I'll support you. Proven through action." With that, Sarah realized the challenge ahead was as much about her personal development as it was about the physical project. Empowerment surged through her. The way forward was beginning to crystallize, but so too did the pressure of the demands awaiting her. The spark of exploration ignited a new idea. A series of video testimonials could amplify these stories beyond mere text. As she left the meeting, doubt still loomed. Could she really capture lives wrapped in nostalgia? Would they resonate with a wider audience, or was it merely a delusion? The answer beckoned to her, but there was no time to waste. With every beat of her heart, she recognized the profound importance of diving deeper, risking failure for the chance of true connection. Each video would become a testament to the human experience, a bond that defied the stark data of the corporate world. Sarah stepped outside the diner, a rush of excitement coursing through her veins. Looking out, she envisioned the vibrant community forming right in front of her, waiting to be captured on camera. She took a deep breath, the potential new narratives brimming just out of reach. Would she summon the courage to face this next challenge or allow doubt to obscure her vision? Time would tell, but the path to discovery lay directly in front of her, waiting to be ventured. As she prepped her equipment, an unfamiliar noise echoed from behind her, prompting a twist of curiosity. She turned, only to find a woman with a striking resemblance to Mr. Thompson watching from a distance, her warm eyes full of stories yet to tell. What could this mean for Sarah's journey ahead? As she stood there, caught in the gaze of the unfamiliar woman, Sarah felt a pulse of intuition surge through her. This woman, reminiscent of Mr. Thompson, didn't just share his features, she radiated warmth and empathy, qualities that Sarah had begun to cherish in her quest for human connection. Was it mere coincidence that she appeared just as Sarah was grappling with the doubts of her initiative? "Excuse me," Sarah ventured, her voice steady despite the tremors in her fingertips. The woman's smile deepened, inviting conversation. "I'm Clara," she introduced softly, taking a step closer. "I noticed you were setting up something interesting. Can I ask what you're up to?" The question sparked a flicker of excitement in Sarah. Here was a chance to articulate her vision, to confront her own hesitations head-on. I'm working on a project that gathers stories from our diners to share on social media. I want to highlight the emotional connections people have with this place. Clara's eyes sparkled with genuine interest. That sounds wonderful. Stories connect us in ways statistics never can. I believe in the power of sharing. It brings healing. A tingle of recognition washed over Sarah. This was the affirmation she needed, someone who understood the transformative power of connection. I'm also planning to include video testimonials. I want to capture these stories authentically, Sarah continued, her passion spilling over as she outlined her dreams. But I'm worried about whether they'll resonate beyond our regulars. Every story has the potential to touch someone, even when it's personal, Clara said, her voice smooth, coaxing. If you're open to it, I'd love to share my own story. It's about my son, he's different, and our experiences have shaped who I am. Maybe it could connect to your project, too. The revelation sent a fresh wave of contemplative energy through Sarah. Please, she replied earnestly, I'd be honored to hear it. Clara agreed to meet later that week, just as Sarah was swept up in the prospect of including a powerful, multidimensional narrative within her initiative. Their exchange planted a seed of inspiration that mixed with her existing tension. Here, subtly hidden in this encounter, was the potential for addressing her deepest fears that her quest for connection could meet profound stories of love, loss, and resilience, directly resonating with a wider audience. Now, with Clara's impending story intertwining with her vision, Sarah felt a surge of determination. She spent the next days honing her craft, delving into the basics of video production and storytelling. Each technical challenge mirrored her internal struggles. Where she faltered in confidence, she became resourceful, seeking help and advice from Lily. Let's film some practice runs, Lily suggested one afternoon, her enthusiasm infectious. They set up lights and props in the diner as if creating a mini studio, excited to explore the narratives in front of the lens. Yet the moment they pressed record, Sarah found herself seizing with self-doubt. Why was it so hard to be vulnerable on camera? Just share your truth, Sarah, Lily said, her tone grounding. You have stories to tell, too. Remember, it's not just about others, it's about what you bring to the table. The reality hit hard. In striving to amplify others' voices, Sarah had overshadowed her own, diminishing her unique narrative just as much as that of a community. What was her story, her passion? Did she even know how to share that? As she explored this awareness, hesitant but resolute, she realized that recording her feelings would not only serve the project but would also liberate her own fears of silence, the fear of being unheard. And as Clara's story loomed on the horizon, Sarah recognized the intertwining destinies, her journey to be seen and the legacy of a deaf son who had shaped Clara's life. With each practice take, Sarah began to shed layers of insecurity. Yet as she prepared, an urgent voice lingered within her mind. What if Mr. Thompson still remained unconvinced, resistant to this emotional path? Could her own drive to share lead to dismissal, or was this a turning point, an opportunity to bridge personal narratives and ignite professional growth? As the day drew closer for Clara's story to unfold, Sarah understood that she was standing on the precipice of an integral turning point. Would she embrace the risks, a mix of vulnerability and innovation, or would the echo of doubt drown out her willingness to connect? The camera stood silently, primed and ready for the truth. Where would this path lead her next? As the sun dipped below the horizon, Sarah pondered the weight of her upcoming confrontation, knowing that every step carried the potential to transform lives, hers included. The morning air in the diner had a crisp edge, punctuating the quiet hum of anticipation swirling in Sarah's mind. With every dish she plated, her thoughts raced, contemplating the imminent meeting with Clara. This culmination of her efforts was no longer just about gathering stories, it was about uncovering her own narrative and practicing the very vulnerability she sought from others. As the clock ticked closer to their scheduled meeting, Sarah's heart pounded with trepidation. Would Clara's experience resonate with her own, or would it drive home the inadequacies she masked with bravado? Her hands trembled as she arranged the table, preparing not just a visual backdrop, but a physical space for an emotional exchange. "Take a deep breath," Lily, who watched from the sidelines, offered. "You're ready for this." "Ready? I don't even know if I can convey my own feelings," Sarah replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The reality of her emotional blockade gnawed at her. As the door swung open, Clara stepped in, her presence illuminating the space. Her gentle demeanor carried a warmth that instinctively put Sarah at ease, though the core of her anxiety remained palpable. They exchanged pleasantries, but Sarah was struck by the edge of tension in her own voice, a stark reminder that she hadn't fully believed in her own message. "So, how do you want to begin?" Clara asked, her tone inviting yet probing. "I thought, perhaps you could start telling me about your story," Sarah suggested, the weight of the question tumbling off her tongue. Clara took a breath, her gaze turning inward briefly. "You know, my son is deaf," she began, her words wrapping around Sarah like a comforting shawl. "He was born into a world that often overlooks him. My journey has been about advocating for his voice, finding ways to express and connect, despite the differences." As Clara spoke, Sarah felt the contours of her own insecurities shift. The profound love and pain layered within Clara's narrative mirrored her own struggle for connection between her drive to bring out others' voices and the desperate need to preserve her own. "Do you ever feel like your voice goes unheard?" Sarah interjected, her own truth peeking through her uncertainty. "More often than I'd like to admit," Clara admitted, her eyes filled with understanding. "But sharing has been my lifeline. It has shaped me, and it's led me to connections I never expected." As they delved deeper, the atmosphere thickened with emotional resonance. Clara's story unveiled not just the battles she faced but the bridges she built, forged through vulnerability. It was a pivotal revelation for Sarah. Her initiative wasn't simply about showcasing others, it was about creating a tapestry of real experiences that resonated deeply across an often cliched landscape of social media. Inspired, Sarah ventured, "What if my project isn't just about gathering stories? What if it's about leading conversations that spark change? A call for others to step out of their silence?" Clara smiled, lighting up the room. "Exactly. Stories are powerful, but they gain strength in connection. Your passion can ignite a shift in perspective, leading others to share their truths, too." The realization settled within Sarah like an anchor. She could no longer afford to keep her story imprisoned by her own doubts. The fear of Mr. Thompson's dismissive attitude seemed trivial compared to the potential impact of their shared vulnerabilities. "Can I interview you?" Sarah mused impulsively, already reaching for her notebook. "Your story, how you advocate for your son, can show the world the significance of empathy and understanding. It might even begin to bridge some of those very gaps I've feared." Clara's eyes sparkled with mirth and hope. "Absolutely, Sarah. I'd love to. But remember, this isn't just about me, it's about what you bring to it too. Your voice is as important as mine." Moments later, as Sarah set up the camera to capture this transformative real-time exchange, she felt a surge of empowerment. The weight of hesitation lifted, replaced by an exhilarating sense of purpose. Clara was right, her truths mattered, and they had the potential to inspire others, just as she had been inspired. But there remained one question, a gnawing thought at the back of Sarah's mind: would Mr. Thompson be able to see the value in her evolution? Was he prepared to embrace the depth of the stories she intended to tell? With the lens focused and hearts bared, the real transformation was just beginning. Sarah knew each recorded moment would mark her growth, an invaluable lesson in authenticity waiting to unfold. Would she have the courage to own her voice fully in the way she encouraged others to do? As the red light flickered, signaling the start of their dialogue, Sarah braced herself for the journey ahead. The real challenge loomed: the path to confronting Mr. Thompson and advocating for the embrace of their shared narratives. Would she forge ahead, fearless? As the camera whirred to life, Sarah felt a wave of exhilaration wash over her. Clara began her story, detailing the labyrinth of challenges she navigated, not just as a mother but as a passionate advocate. Each word seemed to tether Sarah more tightly to her own truths, and for the first time, she allowed herself to envision the fullness of her potential. Empathy isn't just a reaction, it's a choice, Clara emphasized, her eyes drawing Sarah in. Each anecdote from Clara shed light on the struggles they both faced, those of feeling invisible despite having a voice that deserved to be heard. Sarah's heart raced as Clara spoke of advocating for her son, fighting against the odds, resting only briefly between triumphs and tribulations. With each exchange, Sarah's thoughts spiraled. She was stepping into a realm where her insecurities could merge harmoniously with a collective narrative. If Clara could face societal indifference for the sake of her child, surely, Sarah could address the resistance she faced talking to Mr. Thompson. Stories shape our understanding of the world. They're the fuel for connection, Clara said, sweeping her hand across the table, emphasizing the importance of shared journeys. This idea ignited something in Sarah. She recognized this project was her chance to bridge that distance both personally and professionally. Midway through the interview, Sarah felt an impulse, a revelation bubbling beneath her skin. What if we could organize a platform where voices like yours are not just heard but amplified? A place where vulnerability invites strength? Clara's face lit up with enthusiasm. That's exactly it. Creating a space for shared stories could transform lives. Your project could start as a simple series but grow into an incredible movement. Driven by Clara's endorsement, Sarah envisioned the user engagement her project would provoke. Yet a sliver of doubt crept in. How could she ensure the authenticity of each narrative without overshadowing her own? After continuously promoting others, she realized she had not yet contextualized her own journey. I want to help others, but how do I balance drawing others out while not getting lost myself? Sarah's question hung in the air, thick with vulnerability. By claiming your voice first, Sarah, Clara encouraged gently. You must see your own story as a vital thread in this fabric. You have the right to share your fears, your victories, they only add richness to the narrative. That simple advice struck Sarah like a bell tolling in the stillness of her self-doubt. The moment crystallized for her the importance of her reality in counterbalancing the narratives of those she wanted to uplift. Time flew, and before she realized it, their session drew to a close. As she turned off the camera, a suffusion of clarity enveloped Sarah. Clara's words echoed, demanding her attention. She grabbed her notebook and wrote furiously, capturing the essence of their conversation, the shifts it inspired within her. Then came the haunting question that she could no longer ignore: was she prepared to confront Mr. Thompson with this newfound conviction? The thought sent tendrils of anxiety coiling around her heart once more. The stakes of her upcoming pitch loomed larger than life, reality striking a harsh chord. What if her push for authenticity only met further resistance? The decision weighed heavily on her: embrace her vulnerability despite potential dismissal. Was she ready to reveal what had been simmering beneath her facade? Taking a deep breath, she locked eyes with Clara, who was packing up the equipment. You've ignited something in me. I think I can finally own my story. But it won't be easy. Nothing worth having ever is. But stepping into your truth can only bring you closer to others' experiences, Clara replied with conviction. At that moment, Sarah felt propelled towards her ultimate confrontation with Mr. Thompson, an interaction that would test not just her professional ambition but her very identity. With her newfound resolve, she left the diner that afternoon, a whirlpool of anticipation swirling in her chest. The willingness to embrace her story and challenge the fears encapsulated therein ignited sparks of determination. She would carve out her narrative, she would lay the groundwork for a lively discourse. And yet, one thought lingered, a reminder of the path ahead. Would she find the strength to truly fight for her vision against the dispassionate walls of corporate indifference? As she crossed the diner's threshold, ready to take that next decisive step, she felt the weight of her potential pressing down upon her, waiting to be unleashed. Would it be the courage to finally advocate for herself and others, or would she fall back into the shadows of doubt? The sun streamed through the diner windows, illuminating the familiar faces of the patrons who had filled the booths with laughter and camaraderie. As Sarah prepared for that day's confrontation with Mr. Thompson, she felt the weight of her journey manifest within her. No longer was she merely a waitress navigating the blurred lines of ambition versus duty, she had emerged into a woman ready to advocate for her dreams and those of her community. That morning, her heart raced with anticipation, yet it was tinged with a solid confidence she hadn't possessed just weeks prior. The words of Clara echoed in her mind, "Your voice is as important as mine." Today, she would not shy from sharing her narrative alongside the tales of the diner's patrons. She would elevate their experiences to a realm of relevance, aligning them professionally and personally. When Sarah stepped into Mr. Thompson's office, the marble surroundings seemed less imposing than before. She squared her shoulders and positioned the carefully crafted document in front of him, a visualization of her concerns paired with the enriched stories of patrons whose lives were intertwined with the diner. He regarded her with a critical eye, but today, she embraced the vulnerability tied to her purpose. "Mr. Thompson," Sarah began, her voice steady, "I understand the priorities of numbers, profit margins, and growth potential, but I'm here to highlight something far deeper, the emotional connections that drive our business. The stories I've gathered show how impactful preserving this diner can be." Mr. Thompson leaned back, arms crossed, skepticism etched across his features. "And what does that really reflect for the bottom line?" Crucial seconds ticked by, but adrenaline surged within her, fortifying her resolve. "These stories represent loyalty, connection, and identity. Every voice captured will not only promote engagement but create a community. If we nurture the bond people have with this diner, they will choose it over another corporate establishment. Together, we can foster loyalty that simply cannot be quantified." The shift was palpable, Mr. Thompson's cautious demeanor softened, and for the first time, he seemed intrigued. "That sounds ambitious," he mused, lowering his defenses slightly. "What will you do with these stories?" "As I've outlined in this document, I plan to launch a campaign highlighting the diner's role as a cultural sanctuary. I want to integrate a social media initiative, video testimonials, and community events to highlight how significant this diner is to so many." In that moment, she spoke not only as an employee hoping to save a business but as an empowered advocate defining herself. She reflected on Clara's insights and recognized the importance of her own perspective, a catalyst for change. "I'm asking for your support in this, to embrace the emotional alongside conventional metrics. When we tell these stories, we forge stronger connections. I believe they will ignite a movement, turning our diner into a community pillar." Mr. Thompson considered her words, the gears turning visibly in his mind. "And if it fails? Then I will learn from it, iterate, and will either refine the approach or pivot entirely. But if we sit on our hands, we risk losing everything we have and so much more." Silence ensued, a charged atmosphere filled with possibilities. Sarah could sense the change. She had planted seeds in Mr. Thompson's mind, perhaps even cracked the surface of corporate indifference. After a brief pause, he finally replied, "Okay, let us see if we can pivot this conversation into action. Show me that the community is engaged. Start with Clara's story, and let us see how it resonates." A rush of exhilaration poured through Sarah, determination surged within her. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson. I won't let you down." As she exited his office, a weight lifted from her shoulders, a recognition of her standing in this professional sphere. She had not only learned to advocate for others but also for herself. The fears that once loomed large felt diminished by the clarity of purpose she had discovered. Days turned into weeks as Sarah set her plan into motion, capturing heartwarming stories, videos, and testimonials with an energized eagerness that reverberated throughout the diner and even further into the community. Each new narrative fed her own emerging self-identity, a testament to how she had conquered the trepidations that once stifled her ambition. The diner became a stage for shared experiences, intertwining lives and creating a vibrant tapestry of connection, a testament to Sarah's conviction that empowered identity wouldn't crumble under the weight of doubt but would flourish into a celebration of shared humanity. As the campaign launched, her confidence solidified, becoming an emblem of growth. Sarah saw herself reflected in the faces of those she had helped find their voices, each shared narrative affirming that vulnerability, the very element she had feared, was now her greatest asset. Finally, a culminating event showcased Clara's story and others, weaving their experiences alongside Sarah's own, demonstrating the collective strength drawn from authenticity. That day marked a pivotal shift, not just for the diner but also for Sarah. In the warmth of her community and her strengthening resolve, she had achieved what she first thought impossible. She found her voice and embraced it fully, setting the stage for her own transformative journey. Which led her to a profound realization: her evolution wasn't merely about saving the diner, it was about forging an identity grounded in empowerment, connection, and the inherent worth woven within shared experience. With this new position solidified, there was no backtracking. Sarah's triumph extended far beyond the confines of the diner. It reached into every facet of her life and aspirations, culminating in an authentic declaration that echoed her journey. She had not only conquered her fears but had become an advocate, firmly rooted in the conviction of her worth. Now stood the moment for others. Your stories matter too, let us embark on this journey together, she called out, holding her community with open arms. So now, hear her call echoed clearly: take these lessons to heart, and embrace your own narrative. Own it. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share.